This may just be the most important comparison video of the year. The tried and true HBX 16889A Pro versus the MJX HyperGo version 2. These two cars are very similar to each other, yet still very different. Now in this video, we're not only going to test the normal things we usually do, like speed and durability. We're also going to check stuff like full throttle takeoff, check for high speed turning abilities, steering responsiveness, speed tests on grass and pavement. First, we're going to do a visual examination with laparoscopics and borescopes.
That's not something you do with the RC cars.
Oh yeah, eyeballs only then. What are you looking at? And I also have a little something to show you comparing their internal organs. It surprised me a little bit. We are going to start with the HBX and we'll look at its yeast from another beast in just a second. I went over these cars till 3 in the morning last night to make sure that they were both in perfect running order. That did include some parts replacements and a reminder to myself that I actually have 80 weight oil in these shocks. That and the fact that I have shoe goo and drywall tape on the body are the only upgrades on this, and this is bone stock. So this is a fair comparison. At least like 97%. Oh, and I do also have a heat sink on here. I'll put a link to that in the description. It doesn't come with that. So a lot of you know what this car already has, and if you don't, you're gonna be impressed and amazed because this is an amazing car. Oil-filled shocks. Again, I have 80 weight in here. I do recommend that if you're gonna jump it. We have plastic links everywhere, all the way from the knuckle, the tie rod ends, and the center link to the servo link and servo arm. All plastic. Never broken any of it either. In fact, I actually haven't even broken that much stuff on this car. That's really saying something. I do think plastic links are a good thing because they are more flexible than metal. Luckily, very few cars come with metal suspension parts, as in links and arms, because that can cause all kinds of problems if you crash it. Well, when you crash. It does have metal axles and differential drive cups, including the center drive shaft. The gears in the differential are metal. It is 4-wheel drive, so then you have the rear axles, which they are metal as well. Nice springy plastic. That wheelie bar has all kinds of forgiveness to it. In fact, the rollers for the wheelie bar even have actual ball bearings in them. These have pretty well proven strong tub chassis designs. In fact, this is one of the very few cars we haven't broken a chassis on. 3800 kV motor. It is only a 25 amp ESC. These are not rated to run on 3S. However, since this guy is rated at 3S, we're going to test them both on 3S. Now make sure you stay and watch the 3S runs as well, because my opinion on these cars differ on 3S from how they run on 2S. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Well, I think we've pumped enough HBX brain juice into your consciousness, so now we're gonna take it outside and we're gonna do all of those tests. Speed test on pavement. .3. Good job. Speed run. 16.7. How about straight run takeoff? And we've got ourselves a perfectly straight line. Oh, looks like we lost 3 body clips. Hopefully that's all that happened. Dude, let me see that shirt. That's awesome. On the MJX, I need to point out the red trim rings they've got on the wheels. Slick. Even more slickery than that, there are no posts to remove to take the body off.
It's just got a little latch assembly, and it works pretty well.
The body itself has taken on a little bit of damage. So this car is very heavily based off of the HBX 16889A series. The chassis is almost identical, but they added this honeycomb. They added their own battery strap. This has a front LED assembly. Wires are still intact. I don't even remember if this thing works. I don't recall ever seeing that light up. Almost double the amperage capacity of the HBX at 45 amps on the ESC, and then
A 4200 kV motor.
now in theory, 4200 kVs is going to be a faster car than a 3800 like the HBX, but it may have a little bit less power. The plastics on this one don't seem to be as flexible. This one does come with the heat sink on the motor along with the fan, oil-filled shocks, and this one actually feels like it might already have something like 80 weight. This one I have not changed. This wheelie bar does not have bearings. It's not a big deal, but worth mentioning. This one has all plastic suspension arms as well, but the steering arms have plastic ends with metal adjustable tie rods. The center drive shaft is metal, but it looks like it's the lower grade version that they use on the non-pro HBX. The axles on this one are way thicker all the way around, front and rear. And just like the HBX, the differential gears are metal as well. But I do have some information comparing the two differentials in a bit. A big upgrade over the HBX is that they gave us a much bigger battery tray. You're stuck only being able to use a really small battery on the HBX. This one, they give you the whole length of the chassis except for the steering linkage. But this weird thing is the battery that it comes with. So you still have all that wasted space. Not sure why they would ever pay to have something like this designed. Luckily, a regular size 2S battery does fit. You might add a little foam under it to keep it from moving. But a 3S battery with a good capacity in it does not fit. You cannot get that closed, and it doesn't slide underneath here like it's supposed to. They do sell a 3S battery version of this brick. Well, I'll have a lot more information on both of these cars after we run this one, plus probably some stuff that I forgot to say, so we're gonna go ahead and take this one out too. Man, this thing's got brakes. Speed run in the grass. 17.9. Speed run on the hard stuff. 24.9. Battery came unplugged. Ow! Battery unplugged again. Oh! Battery unplugged. Battery unplugged again. There's one.
How?
That was a pretty awesome jump for that car. Oh! Well, nothing has broken on either of these cars yet. They are both still in perfect order. Now it's time for
3S power, baby!
Today it is colder outside and it's a little bit rainy. The coldness coupled with the fact that we're gonna have these on 3S is really gonna be a test to durability. Because plastic parts get more brittle in the cold. Uh-oh, we have problem. We'll look at that in a minute. Might land in a neighbor's garbage can. Whoa, watch it! Be on high alert out here, huh, don't you? Oh! It's acting a little bit funky on me. Huh. Ooh. What was that? Body? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Huh. Crazy neighbor. Hey, it's not acting funky anymore. Oh. Well, I think this one's had enough. I'm interested to see if there's any bad stuff going on in there besides the body. Let's first take a quick look at the motor shaft on the HBX. Looks like 2 missing teeth on the spare gear. That's the problem. We'll set that guy over to the side. Set the body back on it to keep the bench beautified. Actually, we're still talking about it, so I'm gonna bring it back up here to the front, set it side by side. First of all, wow, these things were both a ton of fun. A whole lot. So much fun. Starting with 2S. The HBX won. I mean, it has better handling. It did have better steering response. I think it's hard to see that in the video, but it turns sharper and without wanting to tip over. This one doesn't turn quite as sharply. I think it does have a weaker servo in it, but even though it still can't turn as sharply, it still wants to tip over easier. It might have grippier tires. Definitely a more aggressive tread pattern than this. It jumps really smoothly. It's easy to control in the air, especially front flips. It can't really do backflip. Usually any car with real lightweight tires isn't going to be able to do a backflip very easily. Front flips, no problem. And even from the high jumps, it lands and doesn't bounce that bad. Definitely in part due to the 80 weight fluid. Really, the suspension systems feel like they're about the same, but the thing is, this one just bounces and fumbles its landings almost every time. Neither of them have a very controllable full throttle takeoff. They both wheelie pretty easily, especially the HyperGo, but if you feather it, they control pretty nicely. Plus, expectedly, they do have much slower speeds in the grass. Speed-wise on pavement, the HyperGo definitely wins, whether it's 2S or 3S. Now, this guy's body exploded pretty badly on that one impact. Ooh. Still love the clipless body design. You notice that the 2S stock battery came unplugged a lot, and that's because the battery sits in here and the plug plugs right in the front of it, so forward crash momentum just forces this plug out really easily. When I had the 3S battery in here that has its own pigtail, that didn't happen even once. And the plug does fit tightly, so it's not a loose connection. It's just inertia. On 3S, this just, it doesn't work right. Like it's pushing against itself. It sounds more powerful, but in an unhealthy way, almost like a boat at full throttle underwater. It's got the power, but it's not moving. Some people say it works great, but I never have good luck with it. Again, you can't fault the car. It's only a 25 amp ESC. It's not rated for 3S. Now this on 3S is a whole other story. It was a lot faster. It air controls well. We were able to get full backflips out of it, but we still have the squirreliness, the fumbles once it actually lands from a jump. And then that slam crunch at the end of the video snapped the chassis. Now that same thing may have happened to this if it was in that same situation, but I have definitely put this thing through the ringer. I have 2 other cars with that exact same chassis, and I have not ever broken one of those. It has that more flexible plastic, and that's a big deal. Plus, again, it was kind of cold out that day. That wasn't today. That was a few days ago. I'm not faulting that chassis break because that was a really bad crash. Since the HyperGo does so much better on 3S, it allows you to push it to the limits a lot harder because Well, because it's on 3S. It's going higher and going faster. I am kind of surprised at the spur gear on the HBX, but at the same time, that's a lot of pressure on little tiny gear teeth. I do believe this car is more durable than the HyperGo. I feel like I've put this one through over the last couple years a lot more than that one, and this one's probably already broken less. And I have one more thing to back that up. I want to show you the difference between the differentials in both of these cars. So I was doing some service work to both of these vehicles to get them both in perfect running order for this video. This is differential parts from the HyperGo, and this is a differential from the HBX. There is absolutely a difference in the type of metal that they use in these gears, and from experiences of my past, this is a higher quality metal. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and look out for the next video soon.